Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Howdy, and welcome to the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship here at Watkins Glen for the second round of the 2022 Season 4 Championship. I'm Austin Knight. I'm joined by Sebastian Bosher-Williams with Jamie Fluke in the production booth. You're here live watching Apex Racing TV.
You certainly are. Good evening, Austin. Good evening, everybody at home. Watkins Glen once again in the Formula 3.5 Championship. Will we see a very familiar face at the top of the timing stands in Eddie Samborski? Will somebody be able to conquer him? I wonder. If you cast your minds back to 1 season ago, it was an epic battle around this very layout of Watkins Glen. I'm sure we're going to be in for exactly the same today, Austin. I cannot wait to get this race underway. I think another driver that can't wait has to be Eddie Samborski. He's on such a run at the minute, isn't he?
He really is. It's been a very consistent run, and it's just been a dominant run for Eddie Samborski, and no one can stop. Really, no one can stop Eddie, and Eddie's been doing a lot of help to help out everybody in the series and get them to that spot and improving them. And still, even with giving iRacing pretty much his setups for everyone to use, if you go into iRacing and you hop into the default setup, that's Eddie Samborski's pretty much stable setup that he uses. And he's still blowing everybody away. And, you know, when you go to a track like this, you think maybe Eddie is going to be knocked down a peg because of the draft and everything, but you can never count him out.
You really can't. And 1 season ago, he lost the lead at the very start of the race, but played it very tactically with his DRS uses, and that allowed him to get the win at the end of the race. And I think it's going to be a very tactical race today around the DRS uses, around the tyre wear as well. And welcome back to Yuki Shirakawa. Haven't seen him in the top split for a few rounds. Yuki, one of the only drivers last season to be able to actually take a pole position away from Samborski. Shirakawa is rapid over 1 lap. His downfall has sometimes been consistency, but watch out for this man, the number 8 today, because I think he's going to provide something special.
He certainly is, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see Yuki Shirakawa, master of the start, as I like to say. We saw Yuki make amazing starts off the line, and he can still continue to do that as well. So we're going to be looking to see what Yuki Shirakawa can do off the line here with everybody else, because Yuki, I think, is one of the drivers who just can master these starts off the line and really challenge everybody for a extremely well performance here today.
He certainly can. He's you know, in my mind, very close to Samborski's level. I think Eddie Samborski's got a little bit more consistency that helps him. You see how wide Shirakawa is running through the boot section of the Glen, really trying to maximize his lap time. I always love to watch Yuki Shirakawa in action. It's always a great spectacle. But some other names as well that we haven't seen so far this season. Shane Lambert, another driver who had a very strong second portion of the season last time around. Vasiliev as well, or Vasiliev also heading back into the top split. Very interesting, I think, the race today in Watkins Glen. I mean, I don't know about you, Austin, but it is one of my favorite tracks on iRacing. I almost feel like I say this to every track we go to, but the new Watkins Glen, ever since it was improved, it's just got something very special about it.
It really is. It's such a special circuit, very historical, very fun. A lot of people love it. It's such a classic track, and we're on the classic layout here today, so we're going to have a lot of fun, even more, as you know, this track is just so famous for you just pushing it to the limit, especially these Formula 3.5 cars. This entire final sector, the final two corners, you don't brake for it. It's just full throttle madness, and you're having a blast.
The inner GT3 in me cringes and backs away from my screen when I think about the final two corners not having to apply any braking input. Eddie Samborski, going back to somebody who will have to over the course of a lap, currently in third at the moment. Dreshko at the top of the timing stands in provisional pole. Will Samborski do what we've seen him do time and time again, get that fastest lap on his second time? Jason Sieg, one of the challengers here in the last season in Watkins Glen, what can he do? Dreshko, very quick. This man really could be looking at getting his first win in quite some time. Shirakawa up to second place. By every minute I think we go through this qualifying session, Austin, this race just gets more and more intriguing.
It really is, and I'm so excited to see what is going to happen. Currently in 5 minutes of qualifying right now, so we got 3 minutes remaining and a few more drivers to go. Eddie Samborski is just about to finish his second qualifying lap, and currently he's sitting in 9th place, but he's going to come across the line right now. Eddie Samborski jumps up to 6th place, not on pole, and it's going to be an uphill battle for Eddie Samborski here today.
Is it going to be an uphill battle, but he's got Jason Sieg ahead of him, a driver that he struggled so much to get past. He struggled to get past Jason Sieg when we were here last season. Samborski, I think, will be dreading the start. Very much in the danger zone heading in to turn 1 here, and then if you can survive turn 1, you've got to go up the hill through the S's towards turn 5, the outer loop. He's going to have to be so careful to not be involved in a first lap collision. Crespo, another driver that isn't really finding the pace that you would have expected from him. He currently finds himself down in 18th place, but the field very tightly stacked as Jason Sieg, late on into the session, Austin, finds himself on provisional pole.
It is Jason Sieg, 1:22.148, sitting on provisional pole right now. Just 1/100th of a second ahead of DeCarmo, and 200th a second. The top 4 within 1/10 of a second of pole position. I am ready for this race to start right now. Everybody else, just finish your laps. Let's go. I'm so excited. I'm buzzing in my seat.
I think this has got all the hallmarks of an amazing Formula 3.5 race. Not only do we have, the top 20 separated by less than a second. Only driver is this man to fall outside of that second threshold. But we're also at the broadcast split of the Formula 3.5 series. That always delivers good action. Gallus improves, does not get into that second gap, but anybody, I think, Austin, anybody on the grid has a realistic chance of winning this race. And when was the last time you could say that going into a Formula 3.5 race?
I'm going to have to say at least 2 years ago when I first hopped onto this series. Jason Sieg sits on pole position ahead of Fabio DeCarmo, Carlos Teixeira, Samuel Pizzico, followed by Yuki Shirakawa, Eddie Samborski, Timothy Bobman, followed by Pavel Vasiliev and Sergio Macias, Shane Lambert, Morgan Keane, and Jamie Byrne in 12th place. Behind them it's Ludwig Rancon, Dennis Cornu, James Byrne, Jorge Lopez, Simon Graff, and Miguel Crespo, followed by Javier Pamonti, Lucas Wyzek, and Daniel Gallus at the end of our 21 car grid here at Watkins Glen.
I don't know how much more we can say at Austin, how much we're looking forward to getting the action underway. There's some drivers, Ranchon, Morgan Keane comes to mind, that are starting lower down the order than we expect. Add Dennis Cornu into the mix as well, so watch for them to start heading up through the field. Jason Sieg, we know how quick he is in qualifying. Just like Yuki Shirakawa, he struggles a little bit more in the race, but if he gets a good start, if he can control this race, he's got a good chance of getting a win in the second round of the season. But I don't think you can count out anybody on this grid, and certainly not Eddie Samborski. He won, just to remind you, 11 out of the 12 races last season. He's already won one this season as well. Eddie Samborski is certainly a favourite, you have to say, for the race win today.
Samborski is always a favorite, but starting back from 6th place, we got to see if he can continue that pace and dominance and catch up to everybody and then make the pass. We are about ready to get going here at Watkins Glen. The timer is running out as we are green here at Watkins Glen. It's a good start. Oh, it's an immediate crash in the middle of the field. The top 3 making away, but everybody is piled up with inside of each other, and I believe that's Eddie Samborski around. We got a car bouncing up and stuck in the middle, and I'm going to be honest, I really wish Watkins Glen has automatic safety cars, because this is a red flag scenario. We got 2 turtles on the front straightaway, people doing 12-point turns and everything. Samborski caught up in there. Yuki Shirakawa, Morgan Keane, the ones flopped over. Pavel Vasquez, Timothy Baum, and Simon Pizzica, and Eddie Samborski all involved with there as Fabio DeCarmo and Jason Sieg fight it out for the lead side by side.
Well, there goes that theory of Samborski being a favourite for the race win. Shane Lambert, I think, was the first driver to get through the kerfuffle at the start. Very reminiscent of Hockenheim 1 season ago. DeCarmo leads this race, Sieg in second, Dreshko in third. They have almost an open opportunity to fight amongst themselves. Lambert is a little bit adrift in fourth. Cornu is having an issue. He's falling down the order. High drama on the opening lap, and a race that promised so much is almost fallen by the wayside before we even got to turn 1, Austin.
It was a massive disaster at the front as everybody got into that incident. As we are looking at Dennis Cornu right now, as we have about 25 replays of that start ready for us. We'll get those when we can, but it's currently Fabio DeCarmo leading out Jason C. He got a great start. I say he's one of the only drivers that got a great start. Other drivers that got out of that really well. Javier Belmonte and Miguel Crespo up 10 spots.
Miguel Crespo, you're right, up 10 spots. So is Javier Bonamati right behind him. So those two really finding their way through the chaos. Cornu, Lopez, Pizzica, Shirakawa, Baumann and Keane and Samborski have all made their way to the pit lane. No fast repairs in this series, so they're going to have to stay and either repair the car or simply retire from today's proceedings. Macias in 6th, coming under pressure from Ranchon. 7 cars. Wow.
Of all the years I've been commentating the iRacing Formula 3.5 Championship, this is the biggest crash I have ever seen in this series. And I hear tires screeching up ahead. Jason Sieg is around at the toe.
Your pole sitter falling further down the order. So it almost seems that the top 4 are a little bit of a poison chalice at the moment. Austin, replay of the start.
Eddie Samborski was caught between a rock and a hard place. Watch the car on his right. I believe that's Yuki Shirakawa off the line, spins up the wheels and just catches everybody. One car shot to the, there we go. We see the car shoot off to the left, collects the car in front of it. Eddie Samborski dives across, gets tags the other car on his right-hand side. And then at this point, it's like trying to get a pinball directly through the pinball machine without hitting anything. It's just impossible to get through there unless you stamp your foot on the left foot pedal, the brake pedal, slow down, and you just wait for all the chaos and the smoke to clear, because this was chaos at the start.
Very reminiscent of the Hockenheim accident that we saw last season. Shirakawa really the catalyst in all of the action.
You know what's also reminiscent of? It's also reminiscent of that 1998 Spa crash in the rain.
It's like dominoes falling by the wayside. Shirakawa is going to have to take a huge portion of the blame. But there's a further accident back as well, so I think there's 2 separate incidents, but Shirakawa definitely set off the chain reaction. This is Jason Sieg. What happened to our pole sitter?
Just too much mustard right there, heading into that corner back end, and then back end slid out, and then back end into the wall. As we return back to live pictures here, Jason Sieg sits down in 4th place. Fabio DeCarmos is up in the lead. That's not for the lead right there. That's Eddie Samborski being lapped.
And that's
when is the last time have I said that?
We both went there, didn't we, Austin? When was the last time you could say that Eddie Samborski was being lapped by the race leader on lap 3, just to make it even worse for Samborski? So DeCarmo having a great start, you have to say, especially now that Sieg has fallen a little bit by the wayside. Sieg's pace ever since that spin has been something a lot less than impressive. I think he's picked up some damage after the contact with the wall. So DeCarmo has got it really at his grasp to win this race. Carlos Dreshko stands really in between Fabio DeCarmo and the race win here today. Shane Lambert, an amazing start from him. He's up into 3rd. That luck that he inherited in the second half of the season, Austin, really continuing on today.
As they go through the bus stop. Bus stop was taken out because this is the classic round as we are side by side through the carousels as Graf back end dancing around like a dog at a barbecue. They're still side by side heading into the boot. A little bit of a wiggle by Graf. He goes down a little bit wide. They make contact. They're still going on as they head into the toe. But Simon Graf currently up in the P9.
Well, I think both of them will have to buy a lottery ticket at the end of that. Amazing how they didn't end up spearing off in separate directions. It's also difficult to really maintain any form of grip when you start banging wheels in these Formula 3.5 cars. They've got so much grip available, so much downforce that as soon as you break that, as soon as you give the car a little bit of a nudge, it's so easy to lose control. So Graf and James Byrne take a bow, good sirs. You managed to avoid, frankly, what would have been an aeroplane accident. Dreshko on that last lap, Austin, ever so slightly quicker than DeCarmo. So maybe a battle for the lead in the closing phases. Still 20 laps of racing to go. But I just can't help feeling a little bit disappointed, Austin. I mean, we had the top 20 all within a second of each other, and the field is fairly spread out at this phase of the race.
It really is, but honestly, you can't always head into the same race without expecting a little bit of chaos. And when you have chaos at the start, everything's going to spread out. It's kind of the Spa effect. You know, you have everyone going a little bit crazy at the start, and then everyone just spreads out. But, you know, sometimes you just got to deal with the cards that were dealt with. And with this thing, we saw the top 3 escape, and everybody from 4th and back get caught up by a dam of an incident with the entire track being blocked up and nobody able to get through there immediately. So it's pretty much 2 separate races, 1, 2, and 3, and then the race for 5th place.
Very much so. Also, looking in the background, you see Samborski continuing to be lapped. He's now been lapped by Jamie Byrne, Macias Ranchon, and Miguel Crespo, and you can see why. It's very evident how much damage that Samborski is carrying on his car. The 13 gets out of the way. That's all new. So that's actually for a position.
It's all underfloor for Eddie Samborski. When he drives past, you can see the side of his floor just a little bit chipped up on the right side. But, you know, he spent the least amount of time in the pit box, so I would say he had the least amount of repairable damage on his car. Other drivers that come out of the pit box and still out on track have spent minutes. Jorge Lopez, an entire minute was spent in the pit box. 43 seconds in the pits for Dennis Cornu. 30 seconds for Eddie Samborski. Actually, Lucas spent 11 seconds in the pit lane.
I wonder if it's simply just not having that much to repair, or if Samborski has just decided actually it's not economical to repair all the damage. He's not going to be able to find that time back, so you might as well
I believe he repaired, you can repair all of it, because the wings in these Formula cars are very easily to interchange. If you ever seen a Formula car front wing just be replaced, they just take it up, use those outlet wrenches, pull it, put in a new one, put it again, done. You're in and out with about, I would say, 20-ish seconds. At the lower levels and Formula 1 levels, it's 8 seconds of front wing repair. I'm probably giving a few people too much credit, but, you know, these iRacing pickers are very, very, very fast. As we go side by side, once again, Graf and Burn down towards the inside, and Burn even with front wing damage on that right-hand side front end plate. It's a little bit moved right there, making the move for 9th place. So Jamie Burn with a stricken car, also involved in that incident. He's still carrying on with damage.
He is, and manages to retake the position that Graf got back a few laps ago. This is a little bit interesting. Jason Sieg took the fastest lap of the race last time around, wasn't it? 29.79 was some 10th and a half quicker than both first and second place. So I think Sieg is carrying a little bit of damage after that excursion through turn 7, but whatever damage he's got, he's clearly able to drive around it at the moment. That it might impact his tyre wear, but you know, Sieg still looking fairly quick at the moment. Dreshko quicker than Ducamo. I think, Austin, the lead is looking a little bit more up for grabs than it was a few laps ago. Ludwig Ranchon, another driver to really emerge from the carnage that we saw on the opening lap. He finds himself in 8th place. Miguel Crespo ahead of him. That's for 7th place. I think Ranchon's got a good chance. We know how competent, how good he is when it comes to overtaking, how to keep your head cool in the heat of a battle. I think Miguel Crespo's got quite a lot on his plate if he wants to hold on to 7th place.
Yeah, a lot is on the plate right there for Miguel Crespo as they got to continue on racing. As Dechero chasing out Ducamo, we got a race up front, and it's a little bit of draft battle. Fabio Ducamo versus Carlos Dechero. Fabio Ducamo last win that I'm aware of was at Interlagos. That was a few seasons ago. So I'm actually probably a little bit off because I remember the pace by Fabio is really impressive, and he's looking good in this battle for the win here today. But you got to keep these tires alive. I remember last time we headed over to Watkins Glen, a classic of the Formula 3.5 championships, tire wear always becomes a big issue and how much you're pushing through the boot section, because if you light up those rears just a little bit too much, they get a little bit too toasty for the track, and they just do not want to work. And that will be probably what Carlos Dechero is probably pushing Fabio Ducamo to do, because he's not going for that overtake right there.
Certainly is tire wear or even heat degradation is so important in the Formula 3.5, especially around this circuit. Macias makes his way past Lambert as Shane Lambert had an issue. He's falling very far off the back of Jason Sieg.
Yeah, he's falling off the back and off the track. Well, actually, it's technically not off the track. You can run out there, but he's using all the track and then some. Almost getting onto the grass. Shane Lambert to stay ahead of Miguel Crespo and chase down Jamie Byrne.
So this is what happened to Lambert. Through turn 6 he goes with not too much to write home about. Oh, he's done exactly what Jason Sieg did. Are we ready for Austin's quote?
Too much mustard, and but a very good save. Too much mustard, but a big save on the side with the slide right there. And I'll take the slide with chips with that one.
Oh, I was going to say, we're going to have another pun if we see a move for the lead.
Yeah, here goes Dechero going all the way down to the inside. No room for Fabio Ducamo to go over the side of the track to catch up into that draft. Fabio Ducamo just staying onto the other side. The reason why he's not running in the middle of the track, there's a bump and a crest in the middle of the track, and you will bottom out the car. So if you see a car dive to the very right-hand side, the other car on the left will usually not follow them in any Formula car. In sports car racing, you'll see cars dart all over the back straight right here. It's absolute chaos, but in these Formula 3.5 cars, it's usually a two-line ordeal.
And to be honest, even in sports cars, certainly GT3s, you really feel the effect of that bump. So I can only imagine what it would be like with being so low down to the ground in these Formula cars with stiffer suspension for good measure. You're right. I think if you approach or even look at that bump funny, you'll end up backwards and into the wall in a fairly monumental accident. So Dreshko takes the lead. It's all about what can Ducamo do. Can he recover? Can he, almost use the DRSs that he might have saved by leading the race to make the move, or does he want to stay behind? Does he want to play the long game? And if he does he start to force Carlos Dreshko to use more of his DRSs? So Del Carmo still has a really good chance to win this race, but it's all about strategy, and it's all about who is feeling a little bit brave into turn 5.
You can't be on the race lead on who's going to be going for the win right there. This is a good battle between two excellent drivers right now. We're 10 laps into this 25-lap race. We got 15 laps to go between these two. It's all about what moves are going to do, who's pulling the way out which sector, and who is putting the pressure on each other, and who's pushing these tires to the limit. Because both these drivers, they can make a mistake, and ooh, big oversteer correction by Fabio Di Carmo. A mistake like that can show you where the state of the tires are right there. Fabio Di Carmo is already a little bit toasty on those tires. You saw coming out of the toe, a big oversteer correction. A wonderful save, though, by the Texarkana Racing by TK driver.
It certainly was, and that's the heat degradation that I was talking about. The tyres just getting too hot and starting to provide less grip, and that is very much a vicious circle. You start to slide more, which increases the temperature reduces the grip, and you start to slide more, and it's very difficult to escape that cycle, especially when you're battling for any place, let alone the race lead. Ducarmo now, in fact, out of that 1 second barrier. Sergio Macias, though, that's a new fastest lap of the race.
Beauty of a fast lap. Heck, he could be chasing for a podium spot here if he chases down Jason Sieg right there. He's just currently behind him by 2.2 seconds, so he could be inching ever closer on Jason Sieg. And we saw Sieg have that big slide, so he could be in that cycle very soon if he makes another one of those mistakes. But look at that gap. It's starting to fall down. These past 3 laps have been advantage Sergio.
It really has, but it's also, to be honest, been advantage Jason Sieg in that Ducarmo battle as well. Sieg is finding a lot of pace, so if Ducarmo continues
to dropped off.
Yeah, he has. If he continues to lap around at this pace, he's very soon going to have Sieg and Macias right on his tail. Adburn as well. What has happened to Ludwig Ranjon?
He's dropped off 2 spots, he's off the track, and he's in the wall at the toe!
That's 3 cars that have come across through turn 7, the toe corner. And is it going to be 3 times the charm for Austin's favourite catchphrase, I wonder, heading into the braking zone?
Too much mustard and wall.
That's a big hit. He was lucky that he went in almost square, so both of the suspension racks would have just about taken.
That would really hurt the suspension, but it looked a lot like James May crash in the recent film, A Scandy Flick, which, if you've seen that yet, it's on YouTube. It's a massive hit.
No spoilers. I'm yet to watch it. I've got a long journey.
Oh, I saw it on YouTube this morning. Just the crash hit. It's a big hit.
It's normally Richard Hammond that makes those mistakes. I like.
Oh, you'll love what comes after that. I'm not going to spoil that.
Well, good. Oh, a little bit of advertising there for the new Grand Tour film. So Dreshko in the lead, set the new fastest lap last time around, 1.1 seconds quicker than Ducarmo. So Dreshko really leading this race, and it almost feels Gamborski-esque.
Something has happened to Fabio Di Carmo in that last lap when we went to that replay, because he's fallen off some a little bit more. I think he's really struggling with those tires and overheated it some more, and actually had a little bit of slide, because that 1.1 second gap is now to 3.4 seconds, and Jason Sieg is dancing on his tail.
He is. Javier Bonamati, we can add to the list of drivers carrying quite substantial damage. Javier, the number 12, a lot of damage to the driver's right-hand side of his front wing. That's going to impact him basically everywhere. He's going to have less turn-in, less downforce, and he'll be slower in a straight line as well. So Bonamati's really on an uphill battle if he wants to hang on to his 10th place and maybe improve past Graf into 9th. You're right, though, Ducarmo, I mean, his lap times are in the high 1 minute 30s, knocking on the door of the 1 minute 31s, while Sieg is setting, 29.6s, and Dreshko, 29.4s, 29.5. So Ducarmo, he's either hit a curb in the wrong way and he's got a little bit of floor damage, or has had some form of issue. Lucas Has he been sideways, I wonder, through a turn 5?
I think he might have got a little bit liberal with the right hand. Ooh. Okay, yeah, he did go, I would say, a little bit too much mustard on that turn. And back end slipped down, and that's what tire wear will do for you. At the start of that turn, it looked extremely normal. And then the car just gave out grip and hit the wall right there. Just surprise oversteer, and that's a lot of wall contact. And that's what bad tire management will do for you.
Yeah, that was a very strange accident, and it certainly caught us off guard in the commentary box.
I gotta be honest, I thought it was looking like he was going to make the corner completely fine, and then the back end just stepped out on him.
Yeah, it almost seemed that his rear tyres just formed an impromptu strike. You don't tend to see that in these cars. They're normally quite planted, almost quite predictable, especially ever since they got their new tyre model a few years ago. Now, showing my age.
The Formula 3, oh my gosh, we are so old. We've been on iRacing forever. These cars are so predictable. Like, sure, you still got that high horsepower type thing coming out of corners where, you know, the tire's going to spin up, whatever. But of cars' predictability at speed, the Formula 3.5 is up there with the IndyCar. And the IndyCar is one of the most fun cars on iRacing. I'm cross-series promoting right here. Because you know what that car is going to do, even if it's sliding. You can catch that thing so well on road courses.
Yeah, well, I think just ask Lucas Wolczak about how easy this car is to catch at high speed. Very unusual accident for him. Currently, Lucas finds himself in 17th place and in the pits. Bonamati still tries to get past Simon Graf down the straight, but that front wing damage really hampering his straight line performance. Bonamati manages to catch up to the back of Graf through the tight, twisty section. Unfortunately for Javier, you can't really make an overtake, and then when he gets to the pieces of track where you can, you know, in theory, make an overtaking maneuver, Graf has just got better straight line speed. But now, this is a battle. This is interesting, Austin, and this will really dictate who will win this race.
Yeah, battle for second. Well, it's really already dictating who's going to be joining on what step of the podium right here, because DeChero is 4.3 seconds ahead of these two, but Fabio Di Carmo, after some incident, is going a lot slower than he used to. As here comes Jason Sieg right on his tailpipe. And in that draft and diving towards the inside, I believe Fabio Di Carmo might have some sort of floor damage or something, because he is going slower than molasses down that straightaway. As that is the easiest pass I've ever seen for Jason Sieg.
I don't think Sieg even opened his DRS. I mean, the move was done on the exit of turn 4. You don't tend to see such a big overlap. So I think you're right. I do believe that Di Carmo has picked up just a little bit of damage. But Sieg, while he's been catching up to the back of Fabio, he's gained half a second on Dreshko. No, he's gained. He was about 5. Yeah, he was about 5.2 seconds behind Dreshko. Sieg is a little bit quicker. He's going to need a little bit more pace. He's got 10 laps to go. So, you know, it's definitely going to be an uphill battle for Jason Sieg, but he was our pole sitter. I wouldn't count him out, at least to have a go at Carlos Dreshko for the lead in the closing phases of the race.
Sieg's pace recently is really good, and you know, as you said, half a second gain within the last few laps. We could be seeing Jason Sieg close us down if Carlos Achero has bad tire management and Sieg can keep this pace up. We saw this with Eddie Samborski, yeah, a 10th gain that lap too, and making a pass as well. Sieg could do this. 10 laps, if he can, he's got to eke out pretty much half a second a lap though, if he wants to mathematically do this, or just whisper DeChero to have a little bit of an issue. But Sieg has got a lot on his plate if he wants to go for this race win. 10 laps remain here at Watkins Glen.
So Jason Sieg, the last man on the last lap, actually, scrapped that. It was only Sieg and Bonamati who were in the 1 minute 29s. The rest of the field very much in the 1 minute 30s. So Sieg is able to keep those tyres alive. Will that provide him with more of a delta between his tyre wear and Dreshko as they head further on into this race? I wonder. Dreshko, as you can see, up 2 places from where he started, but nobody is holding a finger to Miguel Crespo, up 11 spots from where he started. Miguel maybe a little bit lucky with that opening sort of, what would you call it, collision, calamity? I'm not quite sure.
I think Miguel Crespo was listening to Voodoo People and blindfolded himself and holding a lucky cricket as he just stepped on the loud pedal at the very start and has somehow dodged all the way through there, because Miguel Crespo, I think, is the only driver that has that start with everybody else going, just crashing around him and just like, yeah, pick up. It was a wonderful start.
It is, and you almost get lucky at some races where you just sort of, you just feel like nothing can touch you, and then normally, well, at least when I feel that, you end up you end up touching all in the grass and ending up your race in the barrier, feeling very sorry for yourself. But Crespo, you know, had the perfect start, really managed to nail it, and in fact, we might, Austin, just be able to see that start again.
Yeah, everyone's going in front of him, and well, the only way to describe this start and how he did this is just you find a gap and you go for it. It kind of looks like he was a running back on a American football pitch, finding the hole, going for it, and avoiding all the chaos around him.
Miguel Crespo, yeah, very, very good start from him. And he's reaped the benefits. He's had a fairly quiet race at the moment. Shane Lambert, just about 3 seconds ahead of him. Last lap time, not too dissimilar for the two drivers. I think Crespo slightly slower on that last lap, as that graphic suggests. So Crespo falling away from the back of Shane Lambert. Lambert, another driver, in fact, to survive the opening few laps, as well as Jamie Byrne. So three very much running in synchronicity at the moment, 5th, 6th and 7th. Sieg on that last lap, just for a little bit of an update. Austin was not as quick as Dreshko Sieg, falling now back in to the 1:30s, but this lap time he is quicker. He's back into the 29s, but he needs to find more pace if he wants to challenge for the race win. He can't afford just to gain by a 10th or 2.
I'm going to be honest, I see Fabio De Carmo, he's still with Jason Sieg. I'm gonna go into massive conspiracy theories right here. I think Fabio De Carmo might have gotten bored and dropped back to fight with Jason Sieg for 2nd place.
Well, I'm wondering if the slipstream that he's getting from Sieg is almost nullifying the floor damage that he might have incurred.
I want to go with my second theory. He just dropped back because he's bored.
I mean, why not? We don't know. We don't know what goes through the heads of these drivers, and it's very easy for us in the commentary booth to say, well, this is, you know, X, Y, and Z.
I don't think either of us are 6K iRating or on a very big team. We got Jamie in the production booth, but Jamie's not talking to us.
I like to think I'm 6K in my head. Not quite sure if that translates to real world skill.
It doesn't. It sounds like a skill issue. I had to drop it.
Well, somebody that doesn't have a skill issue, Cedric Macias in 4th place, the number 4 car, so very much lining up with his iRating at the moment. In fact, just to add to that, Fabio De Carmo is number 3 in the session and currently finds himself in 3rd. And actually, De Carmo, last time around, Austin sets the fastest lap of his race, 1:29.853, some 2/10 quicker than Jason Sieg. So maybe Fabio was a little bit bored. I mean, who knows?
Well, so Jamie has just dropped into my into our chat. He said we believe he cooked over his tires so much that he's using the track to nullify those tires and cool them down just a little bit and not push as hard as he was. And I think he's got back to those tires being in the green zone and has regained proper tire temperature of that car. But Fabio De Carmo, certainly, both of these drivers are closing in on De Chero, as it looks like Fabio De Carmo's car is back in working order. So thank you, Jamie, for that insight.
I love having Jamie in the production booth because he's far more technically versed in racing and iRacing than I could ever claim to be. I think he's right. You know, we saw how much De Carmo was struggling, wasn't he, with rear tyre grip. So Cornu in 14th place, another driver to have a little bit of an issue. Lopez right behind him. So a battles up and down the field. And Jorge Lopez, you know, he's been so quick in the last few seasons. We'll be disappointed with how his race has unfolded for him today. But, you know, you always get the sense that you Austin, when you talk to drivers in the interview room after a race, is that even if their race hasn't gone to plan and they haven't finished as high as they wanted to, at least if they've had a really close battle with somebody, they can always find, you know, something to be happy about. And I just wonder if Lopez and Cornu almost need a little bit of a fight at the moment just to recover this race ever so slightly.
Anything's better than not finishing a race, and if you can have a wheel-to-wheel battle, especially if you were taken out, involved in any sort of incident at the front, anything to put a smile on your face is definitely worth a good moment in your memories. Because I would say, iRacing overall, remember, this is not a paid series. You race here because you're having fun. This is a hobby for everybody here. Some of them get paid, some of them are professional Twitch streamers and everything. I'm getting a lot of enemies right now as I'm saying this, but overall, this is a video game. We're having fun, and I've just been canceled off Apex Racing TV. It's been fun.
No comment. Oh, Vasilev, he's dropping back at this Cornu and Lopez battle. Pavel, is he wanting to get involved?
He's got
in
wing
the action?
damage. He's got wing damage, but he's yeah, Lopez round the outside right there, but yeah, that's a lot of wing damage for Pavel. He's been with that for a while, so the cars that have stopped to repair their cars have passed Pavel right there. So he's been struggling with that wing damage for all race, and now not pitting is really showing its wings.
SDK still very much under threat, but Dreshko on that last lap lost a huge chunk of time. It was a 1 minute 30.5 for Dreshko, 1 minute 29.8 for Jason Sieg.
Yeah, I'm starting to think those tires, those rear tires of Carlos Oshero is still on that pushing pace, and he's losing speed to Jason Sieg and Fabio De Carmo. They were going for a little bit of a fight right there heading into the carousel, but they are continuing on. 5 laps remaining here at Watkins Glen. 3.2 seconds separating first, second, and third. 3.6 seconds separating first, second, and third, but this is closing down, and if this pace can continue, Jason Sieg is going to be really in there.
He almost needs this Sieg-De Carmo battle just to cease for a while so they can focus on catching Dreshko if Sieg and Fabio De Carmo continue this battle. You know, Fabio continues to sort of half have a look down the inside into a few corners. That can cost Jason Sieg quite a chunk of time. It's not what Sieg needs, but this battle very much not over for the race win for second place, who, I mean, you throw a coin, throw it to a random number generator, I think, who will be in what order on the podium. And also Sergio Macias in fourth. He's not too far away as well.
I've got to be honest, I just got an interview request from Eddie Samborski. He's still driving right now, and he's messaging me on Discord. As, oh, Lubbock Grand caught a little bit of touch to the grass, entering the carousel and into the wall. That was a very square hit.
That's the second time we've seen Ranchon have a very similar incident to that. First
Second time we've seen somebody have that incident in the carousel, and there's a little bit of track extending at that carousel right there. If you look at the entry, there's a little bit of a strip of the iRacing grass being dragged onto the track, as you usually see when tires are dipped into the track and they come back on. There's a little bit of a strip right there. So there is a big loss of grip on the outside of that carousel entering it. So drivers are going to be very careful in these final few laps, or else they're going to be struggling with their rear tires entering the carousel, as we are looking at our top two in the final sector, trying to chase down Teixeira getting a good advantage this lap.
Yeah, Sieg lost almost 7 tenths as he tried to defend into turn 5.
These three drivers, this is not a lap car behind them. That's Sergio Macias. This is a 3-car fight for third.
That's why I said Austin Macias, don't count him out in this battle. 2 laps to go, 3 if you include this lap that we've just started. Macias, you know, has he been biding his time, saving his tyres for a last lap? effort, a little bit of a last hurrah, you might say. DeCarmo, though, doing what he needs to do, and Dreshko will be looking in his mirrors with a big smile on his face, because if these continue to battle, Dreshko's lead becomes more and more certain every single lap.
Yeah, we got a 3-car fight for second place right now. JCC, Fabio DeCarmo, and Sergio Macias. Macias, with a long-term strategy to help those tires out, is looking like it is paying off right here. Who is it going to be? Downforce Racing, Texaco Racing by TK, or Sergio Macias in 4th place from Iberia?
I think you can't count out Sergio Macias. I think his tyre,
Well,
his tyre saving.
There's a fourth car involved. Behind him is Jamie Bird.
I mean, everything's sort of concertinaing up towards the end of the race. Sieg has got such a tall order now to keep second place. He's got, DeCarmo, Macias, and Bird very hungry behind him. And if these two continue to really scrap, and it's quite a,
I feel the gloves are about to come off.
I think so.
The gloves are about to come off between Jason Sieg and Fabio DeCarmo, which is going to allow Macias to get in there. Jamie Byrne, new fastest lap of the race, 129.4, as he's desperately chasing these two. I hope you saw in the background, because he took a lot of turn 1 on that curve right there. He is desperately chasing down everybody in front of him, because he is licking his lips. And speaking of licking lips, here we go. DeCarmo gets into the draft, swinging on to the outside. DRS activated. DRS activated by Sergio Macias as well. He's into the draft of Fabio DeCarmo. They're going to go side by side, entering the carousel. DeCarmo into second place. Macias on the bumper, on the gearbox of Jason Sieg, as they are side by side just for a little bit. They backed out of that right now. But 1, 2, and 3 in the fight for second place. So 2, 3rd, and 4th right now as they head into the boot and at the toe. Sergio Macias at the back chasing down Jason Sieg. He wants to get onto the podium. Who's got the most get the grab or get the gab? Elbows out racing. This is gonna be awesome.
It certainly is. Sieg didn't really feel the need to defend too much against DeCarmo. Sort of went to the inside, but sort of almost accepted that the move was going to be done. Just wanted to get back onto the racing line to defend from Sergio Macias. I think Sieg really wants to be the second car in this train. Jamie Bird is quicker than these 3 up ahead of him, but he's not going to have. It's all the draft. He's not going to be able to get up onto the back of Macias unless he's going to have an amazing final lap. Last lap, white flag flies.
Fabio DeCarmo, fast lap of the race, taken by Sergio Macias. The catbird seat, I would say, would be in Sergio. He's got 2 cars ahead of him in the big draft. DRS is open by Fabio DeCarmo. I believe Jason Sieg does not have any more DRS left. He's going slow. DeChero is going slow as well. Here we go around the outside. They're side by side. That is a lap car onto the inside. Everybody get out of the way. Sergio Macias and Sieg are side by side. They shot the mood right there. That lap car really helped you out. Jason Sieg, but Macias around the outside of the carousel for 3rd place.
That was Ludwig Ranshaw, a driver that's had a fair few stories to tell today. You're right, helped out Jason Sieg down the back straight, but it was all in vain. Is Macias right around the outside? What can Macias do? Well, how much tyre performance does he have left?
DeChero is slowing down. He's going really slow. It's 1.7 seconds. It was 2 seconds at the start of this lap. What has happened to DeChero? As here comes Fabio DeCarmo. 1.5 seconds separates him for the lead. And behind them, the fight for 3rd place is still going strong with just 3 quarters to go. DeChero, does he have enough pace? Does he have enough car? Does he have enough tires left? With 2 quarters to go, can he make it through there? Yes, he does. 1 quarter, and it is Carlos DeChero from Iberia, the Spaniard. I don't think he's Spaniard. The Iberia, DeChero takes the win. DeCarmo in 2nd, and Macias in 3rd place. Jason Sieg in 4th. Macias fastest lap of the race. Byrne in 5th. Lambert in 6th. What a race we have witnessed here. Chaos from start to finish. And I'm going to be honest, nobody predicted this will happen.
Oh, well, we certainly didn't in the commentary box, did we, whatsoever? Yeah, I mean, if at the start of the race you said we'd have had an end almost or even more exciting than the start, I don't think any of us would have really believed it. But what a finish to that race, what a final lap. And I wonder if Carlos Dreshko was either a little bit preoccupied in the cockpit. I wonder if he was a little bit nervous, or Was he starting?
Tires.
Maybe just to run out of fuel.
I gotta say the tires were that entire final lap was 1.5 seconds slower than Fabio Di Carmo behind him, and 1.7 seconds slower than Sergio Macias. Everybody was closing in on DeChero, and I think DeChero was just pushing his tires too much. But hey, he pushed it all where it needed to be. He got out of that draft, and he just stayed clear of everybody, and that's what gave him the win. And wow, what a race we had today. Heartbreak for Eddie Samborski, but over the moon cheering for DeChero, Di Carmo, and Macias up there as they celebrate on the podium. I'd say the Carlos DeChero camp and Sergio Macias camp will be the happiest as they both went up to get the win, as I believe Shane Lambert is happy with his position up 4 spots, as I got a little bit of a wee over the radio. Carlos DeChero takes the win, followed by Fabio Di Carmo, Sergio Macias, Jason Singh, Jamie Byrne, followed by Shane Lambert, Miguel Crespo, James Bird, Simon Graff, Javier Bermonti, Daniel Gallus, Ludwig Rancon, Jorge Lopez, Dennis Cornu, Pavel Vasmith, Eddie Samborski in his lowest finish since I would say him and James J. Pinster collided with each other at Suzuka a few seasons ago. Lucas Walczak, Simon Pizzica, Timothy Baumann, and Yuki Shirakawa at the end, and Morgan Keane at the end of our grid. Oh my gosh, we are going to be needing a big moment to lay down and collect ourselves after that. But one driver that had to cool down in the middle of the race, he was fighting for the race win, and it looked like he had to back off, and then he almost had the race win again. Fabio Di Carmo, how's that race?
Hey Austin, hey guys, yeah, it was crazy. I thought for a moment that I would have been able to pick up some gap to the guys behind, but Carlos was very, very fast. He caught me and passed me and did a very good job pulling up in front of me. He was like 3 seconds ahead of me when Jason came and overtook me as well, so I just tried to stick with him and save some DRS for the end, and my plan worked. I'm not sure if he didn't have any more DRS left, but worked out quite fine for me.
We saw you struggle with the tires a few laps in a row. We saw a massive oversteer correction at the toe. When you dropped back 3 seconds to get behind of Jason Sieg, was that to conserve your tire life or cool the tires down in any sort of way?
No, I just didn't have the pace actually. I did I did a slide behind Carlos. My rear tires were high on temperature, but after that I just lost his toe and didn't have the pace to continue, so I was just trying to stay in the track. The tire degradation was very, very high at this temperature, so yeah, didn't have the pace and was just trying to stay on track.
Well, the pace came back to you. The DRS strategy definitely worked out at the end. It was a 3-car fight on the final lap. You want to walk us through that final lap with Sergio and Jason? And I would say a 4-car lap when you saw that lap car on the inside of the track heading up the S's. What was going through your mind?
Yeah, that back marker helped me a lot there. I actually wasn't paying much attention on Sergio. I was just focusing on overtaking Jason. And when I overtook him, that I saw that Sergio was very, very close to us, but I had the momentum because I had the draft from that back marker. I guess that back marker saved my podium, otherwise I would be probably P4, I don't know. But that's racing stuff. I'm very glad by that.
Well, it was a fantastic race for you from start to finish. You missed all the chaos behind you. Lucky you, I would say. You're going to look at the replay, and then I don't know if you saw it in your mirror of the chaos that happened, but you know, you got very lucky with qualifying right there and escaping all that by starting on the front row. Next week we head to Sebring. How are you feeling about Sebring?
I need to prepare my back because that track is very, very bumpy.
All right. Well, we're gonna give you time to respect those bumps, but before we give you time to have a good back massage, before then, anybody you want to thank?
Yes, my family, my kids, my wife, my team, Texaco Racing by TK. I want to thank our sponsors as well, Texaco Lubrificantes, HB Brasil, B8 Seguros, and Logitech. Thank you very much for supporting us, and also you guys for the broadcast. Thank you.
And thank you for putting on a great show out there on track. Fabio DeCarmo, everybody. As Sebastian, we have another interview. And it's Eddie Samborski, and I believe he's gonna be very animated, so I'm gonna give you to him.
Yeah, welcome to the commentary booth, Eddie. 16th place, not how I think you wanted your race to go. Talk us through that start.
That is something, I mean this with the utmost of respect to every single driver on iRacing, okay? If you have 3 years worth of experience with the car, and you're the best starter in the car, you should not hook left into someone and wreck the entire field literally 5 feet after the start-finish line. What an absolute joke. It's pathetic, it's embarrassing, it should never happen. And I don't care what anyone thinks about me anymore, because I speak my mind, and every week I do nothing but help the series. And you know what? I shot myself in the foot. I gave everyone a better setup, worked with iRacing, and I got taken out on lap 1 because of it. Everyone's on their own, you know? I mean, this is obscene. One tiny little mistake turns into pure chaos and a DNF. I haven't DNF'd a race out of my own doing in 3.5 years. Maybe longer. I'm not perfect, but you have to drive within your limits. And everyone is expected to. And I'm calling for Yuki to be removed till the end of the season, because it's pathetic to wreck the whole field because you think you're going to pass in a line of cars. Where does he think he's going to go? In the back of someone else? And then you have the driver behind me who sees an accident and decides, you know what? I'm going to stay in it because I'm a hero. I'm the only one on the planet that can make it through this wreck unharmed. Like, no, you moron. Hit the brake. Just like I did. I slowed down and moved over. And of course, because I did the right thing, I got hit. So you know what? At this point, you know, and obviously I'm angry, but I was actually looking forward to trying to come through the field because for once I had genuine competition and the drivers ahead of me were going to drive me nicely and they weren't going to run me off, they weren't going to crash me, they weren't going to bring their friend from some other mysterious country to race one time to wreck me, and I got denied it. So I'm not happy about that. But you know what is going to happen? I'm going to do my best to be absolutely perfect for the rest of the season because I did this to myself by my mistake in turn 1 on my qualifying lap. And you know what? It's, you know, I'm going to go in straight robot mode. I don't care.
The fire has been lit under Eddie Samborski. Wow. Whoa, I can say that is a hotbed to, a fire to end off today on. It was a fire for the start, a fire to the end. And I'm excited for Sebring right now. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here on Apex Racing TV for once again another fantastic race for the Formula 3.5 Championship here at Watkins Glen. We'll see you from Sebring. I've been joined by Sebastian Boscher-Williams and Jamie Fluke in the production booth. I'm Austin Knight, and I hope y'all have a good night.